So, welcome to part one of a new workshop series, Requirements for Spiritual Awakening, based primarily on A Course in Miracles. What does it take to wake up? What does it take to find that peace, that quiet joy? We'll have a look first at what it means to be deeply awake. First of all, there's a peace that the world can't give or take away. That's like part of a quote from the Course there. There's a quiet joy underneath. It just sort of sits there. There is a oneness with all things. There is no separation. That tends to develop in stages. There's awakening where you say, my goodness, I'm one with that tree. I'm one with you. I'm even one with that pile of rubbish over there, which is wonderful. It's still a dualistic statement because there's two things involved, I and the rubbish, I and the tree. Eventually, it matures to a non-dual appreciation. I am the tree. I am God. That's more to do with liberation than awakening. Liberation comes at a time after awakening, the awakening to the oneness. All fear is gone. Death, that has no fear because you realize that you're not the body. Bodies die, but people don't. You still have reflexes. If you step out onto the road and suddenly you see a truck, you'll jump. That's not fear. The body's wired to respond to danger. It may look like fear, but it's not. There's still preferences left. You might prefer tea or coffee, wearing a sari or a pair of jeans. But deep down, you're an eternal formless spirit. But you're in a body, so there's some preferences. It also appears that people who wake up still have the same personality, basically. If they were quiet before, they're quiet now. And if they were rather boisterous before, they're still rather boisterous. They feel totally guided in what to say, where to go, what to do. They've sort of surrendered to a higher power, which means they don't make decisions anymore. Just think about that. No decisions. You just know. Rumi said it once, only when you become God's slave are you free. That's the last thing that the ego wants to hear. I want to be God. I'm in charge. I'm running the whole show here. I've got a few diagrams to help illustrate some of these things before we move on to keynotes. So I'll just share the screen with you. There you go. That's some of you must probably remember Yoda from the Star Wars films. You must unlearn what you have learned. That's also said in the Course that you must sort of challenge every belief that you hold. Maybe say, just a moment, Michael, I'm a man or I'm a woman, but when babies come in, they have no concepts of sex, male or female. They have to be taught. That's a boy and that's a girl. Why is that, mummy? Well, have a look at the bodies. They're a bit different. And then we suddenly learn about boys and girls and sex. And I mentioned to others as a tribe in Africa, they have no idea where babies come from, but they have plenty of babies. They just don't have those concepts. They haven't been taught the biology. So that's on a rather basic level, but the Course refers to this world as a dream. It says, you dwell not here, but in eternity. You travel but in dreams while safe at home. So the whole frigging thing here is a dream. We're still in heaven. So it's all illusion. And nothing is actually completely real that we experience and look at. We're way, way behind all that. When you listen, as I was the other day, listening to the Buddha at the But we're at the gas pump program where Rick Archer interviews people who are awakening. He's done about 700 interviews now. And they just talk about discovering who they really are. It was always there. They just didn't realize it. And it's so simple, so beautiful. And it's nothing to do with bodies or sex or anything like that. And that's what the course is sort of leading us to, what they would call the real world. Okay, my forward button's not working, so we'll just go back. Can you all see the picture? Can someone say yes? Is anyone out there? Oh, this is interesting.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just go back and share again. The thing is not quite behaving properly, but we're whipping into action. Okay, can you see the person?
Yes.
Great. I'll just use another way to move on. Right, another trap on the path. I like this one. Here's the spiritual seeker in full blast. He's got a lot going here. He's got the right robes, the books, he's got the crystals. He's got all the right statements here by the look, Hare Krishna. He's got the candles and the crystal balls. And he's announcing to God, okay, God, I'm ready. Lift me up into heaven. This is one of the major problems of waking up is the ego gets back into control again. We get the spiritual ego. You may have seen through materialism, but now the next goodie is to be enlightened. That sounds good. No, it's that, I want to be enlightened. But you actually have to give up manipulating God. There's a line in the Course that says, God knows the way to you. You do not know the way to him. Just get out the way so truth can come in. But falling into this trap, as quite a lot of us do, our picture of what enlightenment would look like is something like this. Caterpillar is still the caterpillar, but he's got wings. This sounds wonderful now. The caterpillar doesn't realize that it's the end of the caterpillar, when the butterfly appears. That doesn't sound quite so good. So there's a lot of fears about waking up, which in this last diagram is shown pretty clearly, I think. So as you get nearer to the gate of awakening, the fears will also speed up. Like if I get all these wonderful things you promise, you promise I won't die. And back of that, I'll still be me, I'll still be the ego, but I'll just be having a wonderful time. It's fun. It's a new edition, this one. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you, but there's a blank screen.
Yes, yeah, it's just brought up this blank screen. Fascinating. It's a new version of Zoom. Let's start the meeting, see if that does something. Michael Dawson's work. Thank you, Michael. Start meeting. This is amazing. It's cut me out of the meeting. Thank you. The latest version of Zoom has cut me out of the meeting. What I'll have to do is, I know, I'll press this button. That's better. My fault, really. That's better. Getting used to the new version. When I started up tonight, I couldn't even get into my room. I had to go through about 6 controls. But beware when you update. Anyway, we're back. No problem. What I'd like to look at next is some keynotes around this subject. I did a much longer workshop years ago looking at all the stages of awakening and what counts. And I researched the Course in Miracles, spiritual teachers like Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, um, Adyashanti, and they all had the same number one ingredient to wake up from the dream of separation. Desire it, awakening above all else. They all said the same thing. You have other desires, of course, but the number one was to wake up from the dream, end the separation, realize the oneness, all judgments, to desire that, to manifest that above all else. And then whatever you do or don't do, the universe cooperates and takes you there. But without that desire, it's like, like when we talk about manifestation, like the universe is listening to what's going on in our mind. It has no judgments of right or wrong or good or bad. But if you've got a persistent desire or thought in there, if you really believe in, you start to draw it. And the universe starts giving you teachers and books and insights and awakenings. Um, that's why it can be a bit infuriating when you meet someone who's woken up and you ask their spiritual path and they have zero. But they've always had a strong desire. They think there's not right here. I think I need to wake up, I must find peace. And at some point it happens. They're just ready for it. I mean, they do give other sort of second and third ones. I remember I just said the second one is just be willing to know, at least for a second, that you don't know anything of importance. And in the course, it says, what's the test of perfect peace? I don't remember the exact words. Oh, it was about understanding. That's right. It said, unless you have perfect peace, 724, you understand nothing. Now, you may understand how to drive a car, cook an omelette, work the computer, build a bridge, but about what really matters, it's, nothing. That's why at the beginning, Yoda was saying, unlearn. You need to unlearn everything and find the really important things. So it takes quite a bit of humility to really realize that you know nothing of importance. Major one from the course, it doesn't teach love, but it does teach to seek and find the blocks to love. The course is a negative path, it's an undoing path. You don't seek truth, you don't seek love. It's already created like that. It's like the sun over the clouds. Our job is blowing the clouds away. The sun just shines by itself. There's a whole chapter of the course about I need do nothing. And that's about really being guided. It's not that you actually do nothing. You do things with spirit, with Jesus, with God, whatever word you want to use. The ego's version would be great. I'll lay on the couch, crack open a beer, and watch the TV all day. That's doing nothing. And I'll wake up. The chances are pretty poor, I'm afraid. Um, Back to humility. I do not know the way to you. In lesson 189, it says, is it not he, God, who knows the way to you? You need not know the way to him. Everyone's path is different, even within the Course in Miracles path. And the Course is only one of thousands of paths. The development of trust, there's a whole section on that, the ladder home. You need to slowly build the trust and the faith. I mean, let's face it, even to pick up such a big book as the Course in Miracles, that takes trust, that takes faith. It's not guaranteed at the end of it you're going to be enlightened, but you have sort of faith this book will help you. Think about it. As I've said to other people here, when I first picked up the book, a force of energy came out and hit me, and couldn't ignore it. Kept doing it day after day each time I picked it up. And I thought, oh dear, the book has chosen me. I haven't chosen this book. I couldn't remember one word I read each time. The need to end seeking. You guys love seeking. It's really exciting when you begin. So many books and read and workshops to go on and new age people to meet and also relationships with and with a magical person in Tibet or Egypt we can travel to. It's very exciting. But my own guidance once said to me, you want wonders, but once you start on the path, then you block it. If you want oneness, you have to stop. Just stop. And the last thing EOs want to do is stop. Another workshop, another book. And at the beginning, they're useful. You know, it's a miracles of the book, but at some point, it says in the course, um, forget this world, forget this course, and come with holy empty hands unto your God. And that's not for someone first starting the course. You know, you need to read it and do it. But forget the course. That concept. Now, the Course of Miracles is full of concept, but the idea is it uses its concepts to undo the ego's concept. In the end, all concept, all thinking, just stopping. And we don't find that easy, do we? Another thing the Course says is don't prepare yourself. You're, you're doing too much. Do what it says, like the lessons. Our spiritual ego wants to control everything. And you haven't woken up this year, so you might become a vegan instead of vegetarian, get a bigger crystal and double your meditation hours, you know. You use the approach of the world. And that works in the world. You know, if you want to be a doctor, you've got years of hard training. You've got to apply yourself. But this is not doing that. It's again difficult for us. You want to contribute so much. And you do nothing. Get out the way, let it come through, let it guide. Deal with the blocks. Like the one of us saying, you know, seeing them every day and you training the mind and dropping the judgment. The negative path, not the doing path. Miracles undo, they don't do things. What judgment? Stop control, stop doing, moving to being. But then you're left with actually the fear of success, the fear of meeting God, the fear of oneness, because we hope like a butterfly that when Michael wakes up, I can stick this package of awakening on Michael. I've now got awakening, and Michael's fully there, of course, but awakening is the death of Michael. Personality still survives, but there's like an empty space inside. Anyone want to share or ask questions about what we're talking about? You still want to do it? Still want to awake? Yes. Brave souls. Yeah, you do it and let me know what it's like, will you? You recommend it. Okay, I'll give you another diagram which some of the others have seen before, but it's rather useful in looking at stages of awakening and what's required. Okay, I think that one. Got it. Good. So I've depicted here the ocean as the absolute God, what we really are. And then, as the Course says, into eternity, we're always one. That's a tiny mad idea, which we forgot. Remember not to laugh. That was the idea. Could there be something different? Could we be separate? Could we be God? Could we set up shop and do our own thing? And we did. We became a wave. And these waves, when you first do it, we shout with joy, look, I've made it. I'm separate. I can go and do my own thing. Um, After a while, even though you might succeed in doing your own thing, you be successful, you got the money, the relationships, you're still not satisfied. So you become a seeker. So here's this guy here, this wave. and they're looking for the ocean. They know there's an ocean. They've been told about it, feel it. They haven't got a clue that they actually are the ocean. This is the seeker. And then one beautiful day arises, looks down and says, my God, I am one with the ocean. But it's still made sure to keep its separation going. It's still the wave separate from the ocean. This is the awakening, which is beautiful. The liberation, or some call it being enlightened, is when you say, my God, actually, I am the ocean. I am the ocean.
Starting to get glimpses of that.
Oh, really? Can you say any more? I know it's a bit difficult.
I guess when it's like, you might be calling in the Holy Spirit or calling in, something that you're choosing to create or something, and then just going, wait a minute, what am I doing? I am that, just kind of feeling that, just starting to trickle in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sheila, you've mentioned something about this before, haven't you?
I think I have, yes. Um, I was, it's hard to sort of describe it because it's almost like, and these aren't the right words, so it doesn't describe it very well, but it's like almost, I was going to say giving up, but I guess it's surrender. It's how it feels. Sometimes when I take the dog out for a walk, the last thing at night, the stars are out. It's usually quite late. And I look up at the stars, and it's not cloudy and it's just hard to separate yourself from it. And it's almost like I just want to, it's gonna sound silly, but like just fall down and just kind of just melt into everything and disappear. It's just not easy to tell you how
No.
with words. It's just reduces it
Yeah,
when you
but
put it into
anyway,
words.
you would use the word surrender for that as well.
Yeah, well, that's what it probably is. It makes me feel like I want to give up, but not in a bad way. And so it is like just surrender to it all. But even that's a word, and there are no words really. It's a feeling like you don't I don't exist
Yeah. Yeah.
as and it's all really silly. All of this is silly.
Oh, you're putting it very well, Joe.
I don't feel like I am, but it is just like, oh, this has just been such a almost a waste of time if you like, because I'm wasting my time, even though there's no time. You just can't do it with words.
Yeah. I say to the newcomer, Jill is someone almost every time we do an exercise in each session, and she normally gets engulfed by light. She doesn't hear my words at all, which is just fine. And it sounds like you're rather overwhelmed or engulfed by what you're just describing with the stars. It just comes flying in.
Yes, yes, it is that. And recently, it it feels like I'm having a not a very nice time in this body and this life, but I feel like it's oh, there's a lot of letting go of things, um, not in the usual sense of releasing and forgiveness. It's just there are just it's a real giving up but that sounds like that's a bad thing. It isn't. It's just a lot of personality is going, and a lot of it feels like that to me anyway, personality. But more in the sense of the things that I have always been in my life, and it's surrendering all of those things, if you like. Surrender sounds bad, but it's not. So my life is quite not lonely, but I am alone in some respects.
Mm. Exactly, yeah. Is it like you're emptying out thing?
That's a better word. That's a better phrase. Emptying out. Yes, that's good.
What will be left at the edge of the process, Jill?
Wow, that's for anyone to guess. I don't know. But it doesn't, it's not a pleasant, it's not pleasant in that there's a lot of anguish, and because I'm probably holding on to things that are not particularly good for me. Not even just not good for me, not necessarily in a spiritual sense, but of course it's all connected, isn't it? Um, and I see that there's a death, if you like, of a lot of things around me,
Mm.
death in the broadest sense, things that have been there for a long time, and I realize just don't they don't work for me anymore. So a lot of recognition about things, and doing things that I just want. I don't do anything. Oh, well, I try not to do anything I don't want to do. Well, that doesn't make her an easy life.
No, because so many people expect things of you, don't they?
So I sort of guess that I look from the outside a little bit, I don't know what the word is. I don't look like a person that fits in very well.
Congratulations.
That's okay. Thank you.
Oh, it's great listening to your sharing, Jill. And on the path they often talk about the fears that come up, even when you're releasing something that doesn't serve you. It's been perhaps your identity or someone around you depends on it, and then it's gone. And it can even be something negative like jealousy, and your partner's upset because you're jealous, but they also like it. And then you stop being jealous, and they think jealousy is love, and you no longer love them, and they can't work out your behavior. And so there's a fear of letting it go.
Mm.
It's disruptive, isn't it, to
Mm.
relationships?
One of the things has been that I'm not responsible for other people. I don't need to help everybody
Oh,
anymore.
oh,
And that's oh, it's such a relief. Such a relief.
yes. Dare I ask you how you're dealing with that woman that invites herself around for dinner every Saturday night and talks everyone to death, and
Well,
you haven't thrown her out yet?
I haven't thrown her out, but I it's not every week now. And if I invite her around on a Thursday because Cameron still has to work on the Friday. So she leaves by 9:30.
Oh, so we have
So
some
instead of like 1 o'clock.
options.
And I do say she still talks about the world a lot, the what's going on. And now Trump's been partially, how he was an attempted assassination. God knows what's going to happen next Thursday, because we'll just be hearing all about that. But I have managed to say, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's talk about something else. It's just so boring. I'm so bored with all of this. And so I have managed that. So thank you for remembering that. I forgot I told you.
Yes, yeah, the challenges on the path. Um, yes, not having to fix everyone. I know spiritual seekers believe they should be perhaps good people and help people. Nowhere in the course does it say go out and feed the hungry and heal the sick, unless it's your path. I mean, I've been connected with healing and teaching, but it's my path. I learn a lot um, doing that. You get a lot of feedback when you're teaching. And in the old days, when I got positive feedback, I was on the moon. When I was giving negative feedback, I was in the pits. And I think I've come on a bit since then. But it's just, that's my path. Another one might be a road sweeper. And they just radiate love and smile at everyone as they sweep. And they became enlightened sweeping the road. There's no special jobs, teaching's not more special than road sweeping. They're just paths of forgiveness. Um, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I think perhaps we could move on to doing an exercise now. And for the newcomers, we have an exercise normally around healing. Sometimes it moves on to other areas. That we could try healing tonight. We'll use perhaps some different exercises as we go through the workshop. And of course, a major thing on the spiritual path is dropping judgments. Jesus says that it's the fastest way home is forgiveness, is dropping judgments. So a major criterion for awakening is to drop judgments. So I'd like to try some of that. And afterwards, I pair people up in virtual rooms so they can share each way for 5 minutes, and a general share for 2 minutes. Then we come back, and what time we have left, we continue with the workshop. So let's practice the big one of dropping judgments. So if you just like to get comfortable, and then close your eyes. Mute you all in case you get noises. Okay, we'll start this exercise on dropping judgments by just a little relaxation. Just 2 or 3 deep breaths would be helpful. I'm aware of any sounds around you. I'm aware of the chair you're sitting on. Now create a beautiful bubble of light around you. And only the highest good can come through this light. Into this bubble now, invite your guides. Use whatever words you like. Jesus, God, Goddess, angels. It's important that you invite them. They need to be invited to help you in the exercise. You can imagine it as a golden white light shining down into your head, into your heart. Now you already may be aware of some judgments that you're holding. Could be about someone you know. They could be alive or dead. It may be some political figure, someone on the TV. There's plenty happening in the world at the moment to generate judgments. If you're not sure, you could turn to your guide and say, where am I judging strongly at the moment? If nothing comes, just choose someone you don't like. Now try and imagine that person in front of you. Some of you are more visual than others, but do your best to see or feel that person. And it's all right to initially feel the judgments. It's all right to be angry or vengeful, or even if you want to kill them, that's okay. You can't harm the Christ in them. Maybe you remember that the last conversation you had where the judgments came, or when you saw them on the television, perhaps. They shouldn't be like that. I want them to be different. They're wrong. I'm justified in my feelings about them. Oh, that's okay. Just be honest. See if you can feel where you're holding it in the body. You might even have a few choice words you want to say to them. Then forget them for a moment and concentrate on that feeling in the body. That's where you hold the judgment. If you can, you just put an accepting hand over that part of the body. And just know that you have created that feeling of judgment. The other person does not have the power to create feelings in you. It makes that person very useful to you, very helpful to you, because they're showing you something. They can't make you upset, but you're upset. You're judging. They've triggered something in you. You don't want to see that, but they've triggered something in you. It has to be something related to their behavior. You must have a bit of them in you. Maybe just a small fraction. Maybe you chose Hitler. There's a small fraction. When are you a dictator? And you look at the person again a bit differently this time. You might say, I hate to admit it, but you are showing me something in me I don't like, and I project it onto you. Hmm. You don't have the power to upset me like this. I'm doing this to myself. I suppose I've got to admit you're my teacher. I wouldn't see it without your help. I suppose it's me I have to forgive for having this inside me. And I suppose I should thank you for showing that in me. You can get just a little bit of thanks and a little bit of appreciation. See that golden white light you brought down into yourself. See it coming down into that person. We all need healing, and what you give, you receive. See the light bless them. See them start to smile and relax. Well, goodness, you realize how similar you both are. Your brother is your teacher. Your sister is your teacher. Maybe it causes a bit of a smile to come on your face as you look at them. Maybe they smile back. And you say to them, I've no right to ask you to be different than you are. I've no right to ask you to be different than you are. Thank you for showing me what's unhealed in me. I now forgive myself for this judgment, this dishonest act. It's okay, I forgive myself. I'm still the Christ. I cannot harm that in me. I am my Father's son. I am my Father's daughter. I just went a bit crazy for a while, and that's okay. I forgive myself. It's not a big deal. See if you can walk over to that person, maybe shake their hand, maybe give them a hug and say, thanks for the tough lesson. Take what time you need to complete the exercise as far as you've gone and accept as far as you've gone. And then bring yourself back to the room.
I'll be back in 1 minute if that's okay.
Sure. Okay, what we do is I put people in pairs in virtual rooms, choose A and B. A shares anything they like from the exercise. Maybe something from the workshop has come up as well. B, your job is to listen without speaking and try not to judge what A's saying. B, you can be the timekeeper. At 5 minutes, just switch over. At 10 minutes, I send you a signal that the rooms will close in 2 minutes. Stay in the rooms, just chat about the exercise, and then you'll be brought back to the main room. Any questions about that before I open the rooms? I pair up automatically. Andrea, you'll be paired up with Judith, who hopefully will be back any moment. So just be seeing a picture of the sea for a moment. Okay, let's open the rooms now.
You're muted, Michael.
Thanks, Bjorn. We've all been thrown back unceremoniously into the main room again. Been having a great discussion with Tom there. Yeah, anyone want to share anything from that exercise? Some particular insights maybe they had that would be interesting? You're all muted, except me and Bjorn.
I can jump into it. I was in a workshop a month ago. It was 3 days, and first day in the beginning, I was participating, talking. We were 50 people, more than 50 people. Most of them I didn't know. But day 2 and day 3, I was very silent, and I was criticizing myself in my up here for not participating, and felt a little bit down because of that. Okay, I was working with that now in this exercise here. But I was with Jill, and I was saying to Jill that what is not working for me, or maybe I don't understand the concept completely. This is the biggest concept of Course in Miracle, is to forgive. And okay, I'm telling myself I forgive myself for not participating, but that doesn't have so much effect in me here, or wherever. So what am I missing there? What is working for me is to find really program underneath this one. I'm not safe. I'm not accepting myself, so I'm projecting. I'm criticizing myself, so I'm projecting this out in the group or something. I could see that one, and the program underneath. I'm not safe. I'm afraid somebody will laugh at me, or somebody will criticize me, or whatever. But when I told this Jill that I don't fully understand this, I'm missing something with forgive myself. She felt a little bit of the same, so thumbs up to that. Maybe you can give some light on that forgiveness, which is the most important thing in Course in Miracles.
Yeah, well, the Course says you don't forgive others, you forgive yourself. And that's what we were dealing with there, is that no one can take our peace away from us. And if we didn't have that aspect, then no one could upset us around that issue. So let's say we're dealing with, let's take an example, jealousy, and you're around a jealous person. If that doesn't affect you, then it's not your issue. But if it does affect you, it's your issue. But it may be a different form of jealousy. So they're jealous when you look at another woman. It's your wife, perhaps, you know? But you don't mind when she looks at another man. But then you realize another day that you're jealous of people who are more spiritually evolved than you. That often happens in spiritual groups, you know. Who does he think he is? You know, being so involved. It's then when you see that, and you were talking about it, wasn't it? You know, you're talking about self-worth issues. Other people might laugh at you for what you're saying. And so when you start to see it's nothing to do with them, they're highlighting it. That's what you call the program underneath. Like, oh my God, I realized that there's some self-worth issues here. Can you see that far? Because that's when it really helps to uncover. Like in the previous example with a different form of jealousy. Oh, so it's an insight into something perhaps you never knew about yourself. It's a discovery. And with the discovery is the chance to smile at it and let it go. So, Bjorn, did you think you went deep enough into discovering the really root story?
I think that because this, what I said in the beginning to it, this is the thing I'm working with, and it's developing week for week and then coming deeper and deeper. But should I just repeat forgive myself 1,000 times, or but when I'm repeating the program that I am safe. I'm safe to meet other people, and I accept myself who I am. That is the things that are working.
But that is forgiveness. You don't have to use the words. Sometimes it can help to just smile and say, okay, I forgive myself. Here I go again. You know, that might help. But what you're saying is at the heart of it, you're seeing the story. You're getting deeper into your own story. And at some point, you'll say, this doesn't serve me anymore. I let it go. And that's forgiving yourself.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Or you just stop going to workshops. That's what I'd do.
Jill, that's behavioral modification. What are you teaching here?
There is a guy on I see him occasionally on like social media, and he's a guy who channels an ET, and one of the things he says to do, and this might be helpful, Bjorna, and I do it now. I've started to do it. It hasn't helped at all, but you know, you might be different. It's he says every morning, every morning when you wake up, and every evening before you go to sleep, you say, "I am who I am, and that is enough." And you
Oh,
say it, you know, 3 times. I am who I am, and that is enough. And he said, over time, you'll be amazed at how things will change for you. So I am who I am, and that is enough. It's quite lovely, really,
I'm writing that down.
if you believe it, you see. So I guess in saying it twice a day, as you wake up and just before you go to sleep, it possibly does, you know, the more you say things, the more you believe them. Maybe that will be helpful.
Yeah, you're not trying to desperately change yourself, are you? You're saying, well, I am who I am. But that's enough.
I understand, because when I've been working with myself this last week, especially when I'm taking a trip in the evening, you know, I'm safe and I accept myself. And then I come to that one. I am who I am. And that's fantastic. Good. I can really feel that.
Mm.
Yeah, thanks, Jill. I've written that down. I'll try that one out. I am who I am. And that is enough. And of course, someone might say, but you're a serial killer. Yeah, well, that's where I am at the moment. And if I can accept that, that is part of forgiveness. And then I can stop being one. But if I fight it and condemn it and judge myself, then I keep it. There's that old phrase, isn't it? What you resist persists. What you accept heals. So you can accept the worst thing in you, and paradoxically, then it can start to heal. But normally you get caught up with the ego fighting it, saying right, wrong, good, bad. And what you resist, you persist. Anyone else want to share from that exercise before we finish?
Just like to add to that, we had similar discussions of it, mostly self-judgment, you know, seeing that within you, but then not being able that withholding that love, holding that love away rather than totally accepting it, and then realizing that comes from forgetting who we are, that we are the whole ocean. Because how can we judge ourselves when we remember who we are? And it's taking it that one step back.
Yeah.
To that whole ocean. If we're judging ourselves, we're just judging conditioning that we're doing our best with, when we're being this bio blob, as I call it. It's just not who we are. We're just judging the dream.
Judging the dream. Yeah, judging the dream.
Yeah, it's all nonsense, really, isn't it? When we all start talking like this, and then it suddenly becomes really clear it's just all nonsense, because you're trying to not, Bjorny, you're sort of saying, oh, I've got to accept my, whatever it was you were saying, feeling unsafe and all that kind of thing. And I want to stop doing this, that, and the other. But I think we need to stop looking at what we're doing and look at who we are, who we really are. Our focus is just totally on the wrong thing. And I know that forgiveness is a means to an end, but sometimes I think that gets us stuck because the ego will take it and it's always looking for something to forgive. We need to start concentrating on who we really are. And I mean that in the really who we are.
Yeah, and you find
if we spent more time looking at that instead of looking at something to forgive, I think we'd be all home.
Well, in the workbook, there's a whole series, about a dozen of them, that emphasizes that. We just ask you to repeat something like, I am the Holy Son of God. I am as God created me. I am His Son eternally, or put daughter in if you like. And it emphasizes it. It also says you don't believe this, but if you repeat it, there's some part of you starts to slowly accept the truth, because deep down you know it's true. And so it resonates with the truth in you. The dog's arrived. Good. Hi, dog. Yeah, so one can turn to those beautiful statements. I am as God created me. I am His Son eternally, including the dog. Hey, dog, you got bigger and bigger. Hello, sweetie pie. Gorgeous dog. That's for the newcomers. That's Jill's main teacher, is the dog.
Yes, indeed.
What can you see, dog? You're having a good look at that screen, aren't you?
Yeah.
The dog's wiser than any of us, but Jill's fortunate that she's got the dog. I'm glad he's made a cameo appearance, That's a blessing. It's a good sign that the workshop's going well, I think. Well, we've had 90 minutes, but has anyone got anything final to share before we close? This will be recorded and be available either tonight or tomorrow morning. And I'll probably take the exercise out as well, put it on our group and put it on Insight Timer as well, as it's anonymous. Any closing shares?
Yeah, I'm really, really deep grateful that this possibility exists. And it showed me, so this pairing was so you didn't pair the people, it was done by Zoom. And for me, it was the total right sharing, because I needed to hear what Judith was sharing to really understand what happened during my exercise. And I think, and I'm talking to me, I have to be more and more aware about all these things, all the synchronicity that are happening to support me to accept who I really am. And therefore, I like your sharing, Jill, that to think I am who I am, and that's enough. And for me, it's not I am this body, but I am who I am. And to say that this every morning and every evening, I can really think it's really powerful. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. Nice to hear that. Anyone else? Okay, so in about a month's time, the dates are also in the events section. We'll go on to part 2. There are several parts to this workshop, I can see that. And I'll post this soon. Anyway, it's lovely being with you all and the newcomers. It's great. Great to see you. Okay, so I'll say bye-bye for now and see you in a month. Okay,
Thank you
Okay,
very
everyone.
much.
I
thank
won't see you
you.
next month. I'll be in England.
Okay.